AM 560, The Answer.
This might be my favorite one, Squirrel. There's a hospice scam among these filthy savages, and the people never die. They found a cure for death. It's a Somalian hospice.
Tonight 5 Investigates has new details about a Minnesota hospice company accused of fraud, connections to a massive development project, and who's responsible for checking it all out.
Let's get right to investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen, who broke this story last week. So what's the update?
Well, the owner of that hospice company in Dayton strongly denies any wrongdoing. But as we continue to investigate...
All right, Squirrel, give me $5 on Mohammed. Oh, I erased it. All right, it's all right. Mike in Schaumburg.
How you doing there?
Good. How are you, Mike?
I'm fine. So I had the unfortunate experience of watching some of these Democrat Senate primaries commercials on TV. And
okay, you're gonna need to sit down. Did you put your feet up and maybe 2 Chevises? Put a wet towel on your head, warm, and try to forget it. Try to forget it all. But go ahead.
But anyways, there's all these candidates are talking about abolishing ICE. So when I see that garbage, to me they're campaigning to the illegals, which makes you wonder how many illegals are voting in Illinois. And not only that, I could see why the state of Illinois was rejecting an investigation by the Department of Justice at looking at the voter rolls.
Of course. And, Mike, they've been using illegal, and when I say they, I'm talking about the Illinois Democrats, the Chicago Democrats, and Democrats throughout the country. They have been using illegals under sanctuary status to steal Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, and insurance, healthcare. They've been using them as pigeons. And in some cases, when they steal, even in their name, let's say the illegal alien would have no idea what's being stolen in his name. Who's he going to call to report the wrongdoing? Ghostbusters? Who are you going to call? Right? This is when the government is corrupt, Mike. Do you know what reminds me? Do you know the top 3 places to live? Top 2, Luxembourg and Singapore. Did you know that? Do you know why? They have the strongest corruption laws for their politicians and in politics. The strongest. And if you look at Singapore is amazing. It has nothing. No natural resources. It has nothing. And yet it has the highest quality of life. Why? When you remember what was his name? Lee Kuan Yew, the guy from 1967. He was educated in London. He's a lawyer and an economist. And what he did is he established that country to be capitalist, number 1. Number 2, to have a strong political corruption branch, an entire separate from the government that only looks constantly at the money that politicians have and how they get money to make sure the politicians don't do what happens in our cities and our states and now our country, steal the money from the people. So, Mike, you can't have one or the other. And at a certain point, we're going to have to realize the problem, the people are the names, illegal aliens, Somalians, people who are poor, whatever the case is. The schemes are the politicians' idea, concoction, and they're the ones who facilitate the policy. It's perfect. They are the pimp of why this money is stolen from us. That's it. All they need are more whores on the street. You follow?
Sure.
Thank you, Mike. Everybody, am I the only guy who remember? The best guy in the world when it comes to what he did in Singapore.
One of the last almost public speeches which Mr. Lee Kuan Yew made was when he had his 90th birthday and we gave him a party in Parliament. I mentioned this when I spoke at his memorial service. And he was very frail. He was in hospital. He came. And we were all gathered, and there's a birthday cake, and he said only 2 or 3 sentences. Remember, never let the system go corrupt. Never let that happen. Uphold standards. Make sure that Singapore can work. That's the key thing. And I'm quite determined to do that, and I'm quite sure the 4G leaders are determined to do that too.
Only in Chicago, Illinois, only in New York, New Jersey, California, could an ex-$2 con whore like Jesse Jackson Jr. even attempt to run, let alone be the front runner. It's because not only is the government corrupt, the people who want something for nothing are corrupt. That's the problem. Matt, South Bend.
Sean, good Friday to you. Just want to make a mention, Trump can go all across the world and speak for 2 hours and some crack up everybody. And Biden can't even make it out of the Rose Garden away from the bunny rabbit for Easter. So
Yes.
that's got to tell you everything, man.
Well, first of all, he has a dental partial. A friend of mine's a dentist, and we were watching it together, and he said his partial slipped. You could hear it, and he knows, and that's the problem, right? He's 82 years old. Not all his teeth in his head are his own, but that's okay. He doesn't walk around looking like a jack-o'-lantern. He even does toothlessness better than a Democrat. Matt, thank you very much. Glenn in Orlando.
Hey, Sean, happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday.
So, if you keep voting for Democrats who think you're too dumb to get an ID, aren't you kind of proving their point?
Well, there's a twofold problem. Number one, they have some support. Number two, they steal elections. That's it. They've been stealing elections since the dawn of the country. These are people that steal from their campaign, from their constituents. You don't think they're going to steal an election? Jesse Jackson Jr. stole money from his own campaign, from the people. He stole it. He frauded it, buying Rolexes, acting like a man. You don't think he's going to steal an election if he has the opportunity? Of course he is. That's why they reject any oversight. Any oversight. It's their enemy. And that's what they'll avoid. First of all, they're selling this nonsense. It is stupendous to hear some of these fracking morons.
They're trying to say this is a voter ID bill. That's not what's happening here. Let's just look at a typical mom. You guys must know some working mothers. The ones that I hear from across my district and across this country, they are struggling to put food on the table for their kids, working 2 jobs to try and make ends meet, trying to juggle getting their kids to school, maybe catching an occasional.
And not one of these poor broads, not one of these poor juggling broads has a frickin' photo ID, you stupid cow.
Fearing they're never going to be able to find childcare they can afford, and praying nobody in the family.
We all can afford that childcare in Minnesota, the one that's a scam. Because not only don't you have to pay, they give you, what is it, $50 a day to stay home? Yeah, everybody gets their beak wet in these scum Democrat mafia areas. 312-642-5600.
He believes in freedom, capitalism, and individual liberty. And because of that,
he's become an enemy of the state.
He's Sean Thompson, and this is The Sean Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.